Hi everyone, welcome back to our another JavaScript project, and in this JavaScript project I'm going to show you how to create a filterable gallery using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So here is the demo. Here you can see that we have a heading, we have some buttons here with some hover effect, and then we have some images. And here you can see that now we have all the images because our all button is active. If I now click on our logo design button, here you can see that we can see only 3 specific images related to the logo design. And if we click on web design, here you can see that we have 3 different images related to the web design. And if we click on the mobile apps, here you can see that again we have 3 images related to the mobile apps. And if we again go to our web design and logo design and all, here you can see that now we have all the images including logo design, web design and mobile apps. Now I'm going to show you how to create this amazing filterable gallery using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So guys, pay attention throughout this entire video, and before we get started, if you guys are new in my channel, then please subscribe, like this video and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this video, you guys can comment down. Also let me know what kinds of tutorial and what kinds of JavaScript project you want to see from me in my next tutorial. That's it guys, let's get started. Now I am in my file directory, and here you can see that I have an image folder, I have a app.js file, index file and a style sheet. Now if I open my image folder, here you can see that I have some images and I'm going to use these images for creating our filterable gallery. Now first let's open our index.html file. So here you can see that we have a simple HTML boilerplate. We have given a title and then we have linked our style sheet and then we have linked our app.js file as well. Now if I go to my website, here you can see that we have our heading, our button and our these images. Now in my HTML code I will create a container, and inside this container I will put everything. So that's why let's go to our HTML, and here we have to create a div tag and we have to create a class, and the class will be container. That's it. And inside this container I will create our first h2, it means our heading, and our heading will be filterable gallery. That's it. So after our heading, now we have to create our this buttons here. So for creating this, let's create another div tag, and we have to take a class, and the class will be menu. That's it. And inside this div tag we have to create our buttons, so that's why we have to create an anchor tag, and the href will be hash, and here we have to create class, and the class name will be button. That's it. And our first button name will be all. That's it. Now I will simply copy this and paste it here. That's it. Now our second button name will be logo design, and our third button name will be web design, and our fourth button name will be mobile apps. That's it. Now here you can see that if I go to my website, and here you can see that if I click on my logo design, we can see only 3 images, only 3 specific images related to the logo design. So how is this happening? Now if I click all again, here you can see that we have all the images, but whenever I am clicking on this one of these buttons, here you can see that I can only see the specific images related to this button. And how this is happening? It is happening here, you can see that if I click on the all, we can see all the images. If I click on the logo design, it means our logo design button is actually filtering all the images and taking those images which are related to logo design. Okay, if I go to all again, and if I click the web design, here you can see that we have only 3 images. It means our web design button is actually filtering all the images and only taking those 3 images or those images which is related to web design. So that's why we have to add filter attribute in our HTML. So let's go to our HTML, and here we have to add this filter attribute. So for adding this one, we have to first set our data, and it will be filter. That's it. And here we have to give a filter name. So for all button, I am giving a name all. That's it. Now I will simply copy this data filter from here and paste it here. That's it. Now for our logo design, I have to give a different data filter name or attribute. So this one will be logo. And for our web design, it will be web. And for our mobile design, it will be mobile. That's it. So here you can see that we have now set our data filter names for each of these different buttons. Now we have to define these data filter names inside our images. So now we have to import our images. Let's create another div tag, and here we have to give a class, and the class name will be box. Then we have to give an ID as well, and the ID will be store items. That's it. And inside these div tags, now we have to import our images. So for importing our first image, let's create another div tag, and we have to take class here, and the class will be a store item. That's it. And then here we have to take our image tag, and the source will be I have an image folder, and inside this image folder here you can see that we have 9 images. Now I am taking web1.jpg. That's it. And then here we have to define a class here, and the class will be a store image. That's it. So now here you can see that we have imported our first image. Now if I save and go to our website, and here you can see that we have our heading, we have our all buttons, and then we have our first image. Now I will define attribute names inside this image. Okay, it means now I have to decide in which button I want to put this image. So since this is a web related image, so that's why I have to put our web attribute inside our this image. So that's why inside the class we have to add our web attribute. That's it. Now copy this one and then paste it. That's it. Now for our second image and third image, we have to change the file, we have to change the image file. So now from here I will add a different image which will be logo1.jpg. So since it is a logo image, now we have to change the attribute name, and we have to give our logo attribute instead of our web. That's it. So after our logo, now I want to insert a mobile related image, so that's why I am taking mobile1.jpg. So since it is a mobile image, now we have to change the attribute and it will be mobile. That's it. We have inserted our logo, we have inserted our web, we have inserted our mobile images. Now I will simply copy this one and paste here 2 more times. That's it. So now here you can see that now we have to insert our web 2 and the logo 2 and the mobile 2. That's it. And here we have to insert web 3 image, logo 3 image and the mobile 3 image. Now save. So now here you can see that we have all the images here. Now here our HTML part is done. Now we have to go to our style sheet and we have to do some styling. Here in our style sheet I have added a Google font, and then in our style I have margin 0, padding 0 and box sizing border box. And in our body I have defined our font family which is Poppins with 100%, height 100 VH, and we have a background color. Now if I go to our website, here you can see that now everything is actually pushed into the left side. I want everything in the center. So for doing this, let's go to our code and go to our HTML. Here we have a container class. Now copy this container class from here and then paste it here. Since I want everything in the center, so that's why I will add display flags, and then flags direction will be column, justify content will be center, align items will be center, then text align will be center. Now save and go to our website, and here you can see that now everything is now in the center. Now here I want some space from top and bottom as well, so that's why I will take a margin here, and the margin from top and bottom it will be 4 rem, from left and right it will be auto. That's it. Now save and go to our website, and here you can see that now we have a space. After this one, now I want to design our heading. So for doing this, let's go to our code, and then now let's take our S2 for our heading. First I will give a font size, and the font size will be 2.3 rem. Then I will give a color, font color, and the color will be this one. That's it. Now save and go to our website, and then now here you can see that we have designed our this heading. After this one, now we have to design our these buttons. So for doing this, let's take our menu class. First I will add some margin, so that's why let's take our margin, and the margin from top and bottom will be 1.5 rem, from left and right it will be 0. Then we have to target our menu, and anchor tag. And here first we have to give font size, and the font size will be 1.1 rem, and then I have to give text decoration, and the text decoration will be none. Then I had to give margin because I want some margin from left and right, and I don't want any margin from top and bottom, so that's why it will be 0 and 1.5 rem. Then I will give a background color, and our background color will be this one. Then we have to give a font color, and our font color will be white. Then I will add some padding inside the buttons, so that's why 8 pixels from top and bottom, 22 pixels from left and right. Now save and go to our website, and guys, here you can see that we have our buttons. Now after this one, we have to focus on our images. Here you can see that these images is not taking perfect width and height. We have to specify some width and height for this image. And also these images are now in one column. I want everything in one row. So for fixing this aligning, we have to go to our HTML. And here you can see that we have a class which is box. Now copy this box class from here and then paste it here. I want everything in row, so that's why I will add display. So I will copying this from here and then paste it here. That's it. Display will be flags, and flags direction will be row because I want everything in one row. Justify content will be flags start. Align items will be center, and we don't need this text align. Now save and go to our website, and here you can see that now everything is now in one row. But we have a slider here at the bottom, and I don't want this slider. So for fixing this problem, we have to add another property which is flags wrap, and it will be wrap. Now save and go to our website, and here you can see that now we don't have any slider at the bottom here. Now we have to give width and height for this image. So for doing this, we have to go to our HTML, and here you can see that we have a class which is a store item. Now copy this store item class from here and then paste it here. Now let's give a width, and the width will be 300 pixels. Then we have to give a padding because I want some padding around the image, so that's why it will be 1 rem. That's it. And then we have to define our images as well, so paste it here, and we have to target our image, and the width will be 100%, and here display will be block. Now save and go to our website, and here you can see that now our this images is taking same width and height. So after this one, now we have to add some box shadow. So for adding this box shadow, we have to add box shadow, and from X value it will be 7 pixel, from Y axis it will be 7 pixel, and the blur radius will be 20 pixel, and we have to give a RGB value. So our this one will be 0, 0, 0 and 0.2. Now save and go to our website. So guys, here you can see that now we have some box shadow, and it is looking so beautiful and more alive. So after this one, here you can see that now we have some space in the right side, and I don't want this space. So for fixing this one, let's go to our container, and here we have to give a width, and the width will be 90%. Now save and go to our website. So guys, here you can see that our this section is now taking 90%, and we have the same space from left and right side. So our CSS part is also done. Now we have to jump into our JavaScript section. So for doing this, let's go to our code and go to our app.js file. And here first we have to create a function. And inside this function, first we have to create some variables. And inside these variables, we have to store some values. Like if I go to my website, here you can see that in this web page, only two things are changing. One is our button. Whenever I will click on this button, I want to change the images. So we have to store these two changes into some variables. First, I will store these buttons, and then I will store these images. So for doing this, let's go to our code, and here we have to take a variable. So our first variable name will be buttons, and here we have to write document dot query selector all, and here we have to take a class name. If I go to my HTML, and here you can see that we have a common class name which is button for these images. So I will simply copy this button and then write it here. Then I will take another variable for storing our images. So let's give a variable name, and it will be a store images. And again we have to take our document dot query selector all, and now we have to take the class name which is store item. Now copy this store item and then paste it here. That's it. Now we have stored our all of these buttons and images. Now if I go to my website, here you can see that we have 4 buttons, and now we have to find out which button was pressed so that we can act according to that button. Okay, so that's why we have to now target our buttons variable, and then we have to find out which button was pressed. So that's why I am using for each, and here we have to pass some values and it will be buttons. And let's create a function. Now take our button, and here we have to add event listeners. I mean, if someone click on those buttons, it means an event listener is happening. Okay, so that's why I am using add event listener, and our event listener will active if someone click on those buttons. Okay, so if someone is clicking on those buttons, our event listener will respond, and we have to run a function for these specific buttons. Okay, so first we have to prevent our event default, so that's why it will be e dot prevent default. That's it. And then now we have to go to our HTML, and then we have to check out which button was pressed. If our logo design button was pressed, then we have to initiate our logo filter, and then we have to filter all of these images, and then we have to choose those images which have logo attribute. So that's why go to our app.js file, and here we have to initialize that filter. So that's why let's take a variable, and we have to give this variable name filter. And now we have to define our event listener, and we have to target our data set which is in our HTML, and we have to add filter. That's it. Next thing we have to do, we have to arrange the images. We have to arrange these images if someone click these buttons. Okay, so now let's go to our code here, and here again we have to find out which button was pressed, and then we have to arrange the images according to that button. Okay, so that's why we have to target our store items variable, and then again we have to add our for each, and this time our this parameter will take item, and then we have to create a function. So now we have to create some logics. If all button was pressed, then we have to add those images according to that button. So it means we have to arrange all of the images together. So that's why we have to set our item value, and we have to go to our style sheet, and we have to display all of the images. It means block. So suppose if our all button was not pressed, that means logo design, web design or mobile apps was pressed. Okay, so that's why we have to add a else value here. So let's take a else, and inside this else we have to again create a logic. If our all button was not pressed, then one of these 3 buttons was pressed, and if suppose none of these buttons was pressed, then we don't have to change anything. So that's why we have to create another logic for that. So let's create a if again, and this time we have to go to our item, and we have to take class list, and if our item.class list contains filter attribute, then we have to arrange the images according to that button. That's why item style display will be block. If suppose none of this button was pressed, then we have to create a else section, and in this else section we have to give item display none. It means we don't have to show anything. So guys, here you can see that our JavaScript part is also done. Now let me explain you this JavaScript part again. Here you can see that I have created a function, and inside this function I have created 2 variables so that I can store our button, and I can store our this store image. And then we have to find out which button was pressed, then we have to act according to that button. Okay, so that's why now I am finding our buttons. And how should our JavaScript know that one button was pressed? Our JavaScript will find out that one button was pressed if any of the user click on that button. So that's why we are using add event listener, and we are using click function. So if click function was pressed, then we have to initialize our filter section. It means we have to start our filtering. Okay, and then we have to arrange our images according to that filter. we have 3 buttons. If our all button was pressed, then we have to arrange all the images. If our all button was not pressed, it means our other 3 buttons was pressed. So that's why we have to add another if, and then we have to again arrange those images. If none of our buttons was pressed, then we don't have to change anything. That's it, as simple as that. Now save and go to our website, and now this should work. Now let's click on the logo design. Here you can see that we can see only 3 specific images related to the logo design. Now if I click web design and mobile apps, and here you can see that we have only 3 images related to the mobile apps. And this filter effect is looking great and it is working also. And if you want, you guys can add some effect here. You can add some hover effect and transition things also. And I hope you guys know how to do that. And you guys can add this section in your portfolio or any other websites if you want. And that's it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and if you really do, then please subscribe, like this video, and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this video, you guys can comment down, and also let me know what kinds of tutorial you want to see from me in my next video. That's it guys. Let's see you in our next tutorial.